Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Quote the Raven Show. We have an amazing guest today. Super excited to introduce this band to you guys. They are 13 Minutes, and with us we have the amazing Jamie. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you, Raven?
Doing awesome, doing awesome. Thank you so much for joining this episode. So tell everybody out there a little bit about your band, kind of where that name comes from, and how did you come up with it, and how long you guys been together?
Well, you know, our name is always the question of all questions, and it's a big reason why we chose it, actually. We were looking for something, that would stick in your head. Semi-intelligent, we didn't, want to name ourselves Skillet. Love Skillet, but didn't want to name our band Skillet. But we wanted a name that would engage conversation, and normally the next question all of is, what's that mean? Bingo. So when we are out playing shows, we certainly want to engage people in conversation, and hear a little bit about where they're at and who they are. So they open a door for us to be able to do that. Now, the name came about when we started looking at fitness. Me and my vocalist Michael, we were both personal trainers at one point, and so we have a love for fitness. And so, if anybody's familiar with it, to be baseline fit, physically fit, you have to work out 90 minutes a week. And so we broke that down into 7 days, and it comes out to exercise at 13 minutes a day.
Wow.
And so we started discussing this concept of 13 minutes. And if anybody is familiar with us, this is not really a surprise that we're all Christians. And so in that, we believe in the spiritual premise of our creation. So we got to thinking, well, how does that relate to our spiritual fitness? Mm-hmm. And we didn't think it was too much of a stretch of the imagination to think that we need to stay connected to our Creator at least 13 minutes a day to keep our sanity, keep our strength, and grow in the way we're supposed to.
Right.
From there, we found a few different things. It's every 13 minutes somebody in America commits suicide. Oh. And that kind of just blew our mind a little bit. It's like, we have a topic of suicide right now that seems to be almost daily. And in metal, we encounter a lot of kids that are really contemplating this very fact, and it gives us an open door, maybe to encourage them, to inspire them, to talk them down off the ledge. And actually, it has. We've received numerous messages from kids around. Actually, we received a message not too long ago from a young lady in South Africa saying thank you. For what you all are doing, because I was ready to end my life, and because of your song "This Life," actually, it inspired me not to, and so on and so on. Now, on a more humorous side, we found out it also takes 13 minutes to cook an omelet. So, depending on where you're at, is depending on where we're going to go in conversation with you. But 13 minutes basically opens doors for conversation. That conversation connects us as people.
Yeah. I love that. And a lot of my viewers already know I'm very spiritual as well. I have a very deep and feeling relationship with Jesus. And so, it's just something, that's been my journey for a very long time. I love the fact that you guys are utilizing your music in such a positive and beautiful way. I think that was for me, that was the whole purpose. Like, if I'm going to create, it's great to create music. Don't get me wrong. Whatever you believe, it's great to create music, and it's great to hear that on every spectrum of it. But at the same time, if you're able to do something that truly is meaningful and matters in other people's lives to that degree, there's no coming back from that, because you're chosen, you know what I mean? It's like this chosen path, and I struggled with it for a really, really long time, because it was more because I was into even doing heavier stuff prior to Waking the Sleeper. So it was like I had this dream that I was supposed to be what's called the middleman. And I don't know if you've heard that term before. Because, I was like, okay, so am I supposed to, go sing in front of the church? Am I supposed to go sing in front of, people who believe? And it was very well yelled at me. I mean, in lots of different ways. And for me, God has a sense of humor. I'm just going to say that because He created me. That's all I'm going to say. But, but He had to have a big neon flashing sign in front of my face saying, "No, I want you in front of people who aren't." And,
Yeah.
and for me, I was like, what? Why do I have to do it?
Because I told you.
Right? I'm just like, what do you think? I'm a strong woman? Okay, maybe I'm a strong woman, but but it's really cool to see a lot more women in metal. But at the same time, you really don't see a whole lot of Christian women in metal.
No, not really. It's still very much a fringe demographic, and I'd like to see more of it happen.
Me too. Absolutely. I love that. So okay, kind of elaborate a little bit more. You talked a little bit about like some of the things that you were doing with that, like with the lady that contacted you. Can you elaborate a little bit more on some of the things that's kind of happened with that?
Well, I think one of my favorite stories, actually, we were on tour, and we had a stop in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And anybody that's been on tour knows that it's tiring.
Yes.
And so we pulled up to this venue, and nobody had the promoter had nothing together. We didn't even have the right address supplied to us. And so we were tired, we were irritable. We pulled up and we're like, okay, we hope we get 5 people here tonight, kind of deal.
That happens.
And so, there was a little bit, and I hate to say this because it sounds so bad, but there was a little bit of entitlement that kind of welled up like, hey, we planned this, we plotted this, you were the promoter, you should have done your job. And if you didn't do your job, then, we'd rather go back to the room and go to sleep because we're tired.
Yeah.
And without fail, every one of us in that band, I mean, it was like immediate conviction, like, you're not here for you.
Yeah.
You're here for me, and you're here to bring me glory. You're here to do what I told you to do. And I mean, all 4 of us like, okay, we hear you. And so we got out of ourselves real quick, and we kind of reasoned with ourselves, we're going to go in there. It doesn't matter if there's nobody, if there's 500, it didn't matter. We're going to go give our best because of who we represent.
Right.
And so there's about 25 kids there that night, and by the time that we hit Obsessed, I mean, everybody was having a good time. Everybody's moshing and singing, and we made a lot of friends that night. It could have went the other way had we stayed in our arrogance. And but one kid in particular, Michael, our vocalist, caught eyes with, and after the set, he's like, man, we need to go talk to this kid. There's just something different. And Michael, if you ever meet Michael's I walked out of the gas station one day, and we've been at the gas station for maybe 5 minutes, and he's already out at the gas pump praying over this old couple out there. He just, that's Michael. And he's not intrusive. He'll simply ask, and more than most of the time, the answer is sure. Mm-hmm. We'll let you pray for us. And but he caught eyes with this kid, and so we went over and we found out this young man was there, and he wanted to leave, and he was planning to kill himself that night.
Oh wow!
And we found out that his dad was really, really sick, and he felt really helpless. He felt helpless to help his father. He felt helpless just in all facets, and he felt like the world would be better if he wasn't there because he was so worthless. Mm. And, of course, we don't care if you, believe like us, and, it's not relevant to any kind of conversation. But we had an opportunity to really speak hope into that kid's future.
Yeah.
Actually, Who Told You was a bit of a direct result of that show. Because Who Told You provides the question about lies that we believe. And so pretty much the question to this young man was, who told you you're worthless?
Mm.
And he opened the door for us to pray with him and to listen to him and to hear his heart. And my hope is, just even that short window, he was able to go home and find hope and the will to keep going. Just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that life is hard. Life will hit you and knock you down, and hopefully we can be in a position to at least pick you back up, help you dust off, and encourage you to keep going. So that is really one of my favorite tour stories that we've had. Very poignant for all of us, because had we gone in there as entitled brats, we may have missed a great opportunity to potentially save a life. So,
wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it goes to show too, to really bring out and focus the fact that not just adults are suffering from this lockdown. I know you guys were on tour. So obviously this was before all of that, but
it was.
I feel so bad for our kids. It just, there's so much isolation to them right now, to how they're feeling. And, they're growing up, and, for us as adults, we struggle enough with depression and being isolated in our own, but we have the mindset to understand, to a more further degree, I think, than kids do. And so it really worries me. Where are our kids going to be after this? Where are our kids going to be mentally? And I think that, because not all kids have great parents that will be there for them, or say, hey kid, you okay? Not everybody has that. So a lot of times kids turn to music. And with that being said, you may not be with them in person, but because your words are speaking to them, it's one of the most important things you could ever do, to not physically be present.
I agree. Actually, it's funny you say that. Short story of my past is I grew up in a really, really broken environment, riddled by addiction, riddled by abuse, riddled by poverty, and the only peace I found in my life is through music. I would lock myself in my room for hours. And music of choice was metal, because a lot of those guys, the emotions elicited, the anger, the frustration, sometimes the helplessness, were so extreme. They were so extreme that I could really relate to it. It's like they were talking and saying things that I felt helpless to say. And so it really was, when I was a teen, it really was my solace. And so I know I know very well.
Yeah, it was the same for me. I mean, even though I got along with everybody, I still went through my own torment, if you will, and everybody does. I think you're only human if you do. Everybody has to go through their own journey to figure it all out.
So I completely agree with that. And I love what's the old saying that where words fail, music speaks. And so it's a big reason why we continue to do this. So
yeah,
if
absolutely.
we can talk one kid off the ledge, or one adult. I mean, it was crazy to me. I used to I'm very passionate about kids as yourself, and for about 7 years I was knee-deep working closely with our child abuse awareness organizations around our city. Actually, not just our city. We were assisting 9 counties in the Tulsa surrounding area. And so every year we would get together and we'd give voice and a platform to these organizations, and we would help the kids that they serve, and these kids were pulled out of abusive situations.
Oh, I love that.
So it was really my voice for 7 years, trying to be a voice to the metal community and encourage and inspire people to step up and step out. Because listen, I know one thing, there's a lot of us in the metal community that can relate to these kids very well. And
you never know, one of those kids might be the next kid that's on that stage too.
Bingo. And you just don't know. And I always ask the question of people, what do you have? What do you personally have? Because a lot of people don't think that what they possess as their gifting or their talent is worthy. So I'd like to change that narrative for them. But I ask them, what do you personally have to give? and then how can you personally give it to somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
And that was always the question, year in and year out. And I had one girl come up, she was crying, she's like, I don't know how to answer that question. I don't feel like I have anything. And I was like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. We all do. And through this, I started having conversations, being engaged with me, and men were coming out and making admissions of sexual abuse and sexual trauma that they've never told anybody.
Wow.
And men don't talk about that stuff.
Right.
And so here were these fellas coming up and saying, "Man, can I tell you something? I've never told anybody else." And I'm like, the first time it happened, I'm not going to lie, I about fell down. I'm like, why would you share this with me? But they felt such a peace and a freedom through what we were doing to feel comfortable enough to unload their burden and set it down, and maybe find help through the torment that they've been carrying around for a lot of years. And so, man, I love it. I love this form of music that we get to do.
Wow, that is so amazing. And yeah, I've gone through that as well. And I think it's just because I've been in the business for about 15, 20 years. Now, of course, the band itself, is fairly new, but a lot of people know me and, in the music scene around the Midwest, especially. So, I've done tours and things like that. And I think one of my, I think amazing moments was when I was doing a tour with another band. I joined them for about 6 months. I was just their hardcore singer, but it was fun, but I was at this show, and these two little girls, they were just enthralled, with there's because I was the hardcore singer, and then there was a pretty singer, and they were just like, we want to be just like you when we grow up,
That's awesome.
And I love that, and one of the little girls, it was talking about, I prayed last night that I could come here today.
Oh,
and
man.
I just was like, my heart sunk, and I was just like, she was like 5 years old. I was just like, come
That
here,
is cool.
come here. Just wanted to just grab her and hug her so close. But it's beautiful, and you never know who's watching you. You never know. And I've had that happen so many times because I'm so focused on, the music or making sure, this gets done or that gets done, because, I'm pretty much the businesswoman for
Right, I get that.
PR, marketing, all these different aspects of the band. And so, which, you do the same. So sometimes you can get lost in all of that. And you really aren't paying attention to who's paying attention to you. And
Right.
It's crazy how sometimes you get irritated, sometimes you get frustrated, that just means we're human.
There you go.
But at the same time, I get reminded, by somebody coming to me and saying, I've been watching you for so long, or I've been watching you doing this, and I can't believe, you guys are doing such great things with this or that, because we kind of did the same thing. We've been heavily involved, even though we're kind of still a new band, with Neo Show. That was, it started over a girl who was 11 years old, and she had committed suicide, and she was one of 6 in 2 months. And Rock Rage Radio, I'm friends with Naomi. I think you probably know who she is, Camera Rebel. With Honest Brutality, she got a hold of me and was like, Raven, do you think your band might be able to help with this? And then that was kind of the same thing. We got introduced to Chris Solon, which is a part of the Dark Side stage for Rocklahoma.
Yep. I know Chris.
That's how we got the first year at Rocklahoma. He was, oh my God, I love you guys, blah, blah, blah. And so, and that's how this all went down. So it just, you never know who's watching you. You never know.
Don't. I think that's important to pay attention and be mindful of. The audience is listening. And whether we like it or whether we don't, we're influencing somebody somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Well, tell me for sure, because I want to make sure the audience knows who all the band members are. Say their names and what they do in the band.
Sure. We have Michael Rowley. He is our vocalist. And then we have Thomas Wheat. He is our guitarist. And we have Nate Marks. He is our current bass player.
Awesome. And of course you, Jamie.
And me, Jamie. This guy.
So when did you start playing?
Well, man, that's a long story. You know, I tell people I knew what I wanted to do the first time I opened up Kiss Alive 2. Um, you know, the biggest, baddest band of all time, and I saw that drum riser that Peter Criss was on, and I pointed to that and said, that. I was sold. Problem is I was a poor kid and couldn't afford a drum set. I couldn't even afford drumsticks.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to do that. And so I used to take these cardboard pieces from hangers, the old school hangers, and then I would line up books that sounded differently, and I would start, playing on the books. And then when I was 16, my best friend took pity on me, and he saved up some of his money and found this crappy drum set. I mean, it wasn't even a complete drum set. I had no stands. I had to hang my cymbals from the ceiling with wire, and
Wow.
I didn't know how to tune. I didn't know how to do any of it, but dang it, I had a drum set.
Right. Right.
So, and I beat the crap out of that piece of crap. I broke the cymbals. I broke the heads. I did, and I would practice. Actually, my first song that I got so proud of doing was Kiss's Strutter, and that little roll at the beginning of the song that Peter Criss does. Like, I can do that. I've gone back and I've listened to my little bedroom recordings I used to do. I was not good at all, but he could have told me that. I had my drums and joined my first band when I was 19 years old, my first real band, and I played around the Tulsa scene for a while at that point, and then kind of had a break in there when I started a family. There were a lot of other things that took precedent, and I needed to throttle back on other things. What is the old saying is, in order to pick something up, you got to set something down. So for a little while, I set that down, and then consistently been playing for the last decade. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, I was a drummer too for a while. I actually started on the piano, so I think that because I write a lot. I don't know if you are this way, but I play a lot of stuff on the piano. But I can hear like everything. Like when I'm writing a song, I hear like the lyrics, the guitar, the drums, the bass, the piano, extra noises, things like that. Sometimes it can be annoying because, I'm hearing all of it at one time and I go back to try to write it down. I'm like, wait, what was that?
Right.
And I'm like, damn it. So, but so I understand. And that's why I think I work really well with the boys because I am a percussionist along with understanding the melody, and I create. I'm not a guitarist because I'm a baby and my fingers start to ache, and I go, oh,
I gotcha.
oh yeah. So I really need to stop that and just do it. Yeah. But I create the riffs too, but I'm like the best guitarist per mouth, but otherwise.
Hey, you gotta create how you can create. So
Right. Thank God my guitarist and my bassist understand my mouth guitar.
that's funny.
So I want to make sure we get in. We've got several amazing songs from you guys that we want to play today. You guys have way more than this, and you guys out there definitely go out there and check out all of these other songs as well. They've got some really awesome music out there. This first one, kind of tell the audience a little bit about it. It's called Blue Flame. Explain this one a little bit.
Well, Blue Flame is really interesting. Blue Flame is, if you look at the symbolism behind it, is it resonates strength. It resonates protection. Blue Flame has actually been utilized in different scenarios to be emblematic of God. And you'll see a theme through the album itself about spiritual struggle, about lies and things that we've been told that we believe. And so the chorus of the song is, I spit it all through a blue flame, watch the ashes burn away. And basically it's just signifying of giving our battles and our struggles and the things that we wrestle with over to God. So that's really the foundational idea behind Blue Flame.
I love that. I love that. All right, you guys. Well, here you go. Here is Blue Flame. it, love it, love it, love it. So good, so good. Yeah, I like, and the meaning of it. It just makes sense now. Sometimes no matter how I look at it, I still love to know where that those lyrics come from the band. But at the same time, I'll listen to a song and I'll take kind of my own take on it.
Right.
But I think I think every musician wants that too. They want people to be able to take from that song however they need to. Or
I
however
agree
they
with that. Well, Michael writes a lot in allegory, so the meaning isn't readily available. So we do get asked a lot. Hey, what's that mean? So we welcome it though. Once again, back to that conversation we were talking about. We love to talk with people.
Yeah. And I'm so the same way too, and that's not just because I'm a girl. I know all you're commenting right now. It's because you're Raven and you like to talk. That's why you have a podcast. Okay, listen. Maybe a little.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody asks, well, Jamie, what do you do? Where's your strength? I'm like, I got a big mouth.
Yeah.
I ain't afraid to use it. So, hey.
My mother used to always tell me that I talk too much. And you know what I used to say? And I still say it. I just have a lot to say and I'm just not done.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, but yeah, I love the fact that, like from one percussionist to another too. I mean, one of the things I think that I'm hearing in a lot of your music is the dynamics of everybody. Like, I can tell, like, just by listening, that you truly believe that, yes, what your creation in your head is going to be great. But you also are one of those people that that every aspect and more than just one mind creates something even bigger.
Agreed. Yes. I always laugh. I said by the time I finish tracking what I consider the final drum track, it has been a process of deduction. I subtract so much before I get to the final the final run, because I want the drums to feel like they belong there, not like, hey, look, the drummer is really awesome and he's so great, and look at the drummer, but I want it to really flow with the song.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't do more; I just choose not to.
Right. Yeah, we have one of those in our band. His name's Sean. He's the girl of the group. We love him though. I talk about them all the time on my shows, but they know it.
hey, that bandmates are allowed to do that, so
right.
Nothing wrong.
That's right. That's right. So tell me a little bit about, like, how long have you guys been a band?
Well, that is again another strange story. But the entity of 13 Minutes was born in late 2015. We were the remains of we were another band for a long time. For 5 years prior to that, we parted ways with our vocalist. The rest of the band went one way, the vocalist went the other way. We decided to change the name.
Gotcha.
So I feel like it's been a continued project for the better part of a decade. But 13 Minutes, the name, was born December 6, 2015.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Now, with did the two other members, your singer and your which one was it? Is it the guitarist? Your singer and guitarist. Did they come on kind of about the same time, or when was that?
Well, Michael came in. He came in about six months after after the transition. We did a lot of auditions, and we had a lot of, I guess, false starts. We were about to jump on one, and it didn't work out. And this kid messages me from Siloam Springs, Arkansas, and says, "Hey, I want to audition." I'm like, "Dude, you got to drive like 90 miles round trip. Are you?" Yeah, right. And so, but I talked to him for like 2 hours, and at the end of the conversation, like, this guy is pretty okay, man. I'd like to. I had a really good feeling about him. In fact, it would be a safe bet to say I knew he was the guy before we ever sang a note.
Oh wow.
Still had to go through all the audition process to get the vote from the other fellas, but he came into the audition room in May of 2016, and within 45 seconds, everybody knew.
Wow.
So,
wow. Yeah. And that's kind of how it goes too sometimes,
It was good. He came in and everybody, he sang that first note and everybody got this big grin on their face. And I'm like, yep, there it is. Thomas came in April of last year. He actually is our newest. I mean, I say that, but our bass player now is newer than that. But Thomas came in on bass. My longtime guitarist and best friend, Aaron Smith, is who founded this band with me. And in January, Aaron had to step away to take care of life's business, and so it left a really big gap in what we do. And fortunately, we have a talented guy that was on bass already, and he stepped into the guitarist role.
Oh, wow.
But Thomas has been with us since April of 2019.
Nice. Yeah, that's kind of like my bassist. Like, he's really an amazing guitarist. He could play lead, he could play rhythm, but he plays bass. But he's a phenomenal bass player. Yeah. So, yeah.
So Thomas's mantra is, wherever I can help, let me do it. And
right.
So,
yeah. Absolutely.
All right, well, man, we have a big need. Jump in there,
right? So, yeah, because in my band prior, I was playing the piano and singing too. I was doing a lot of, that, and I didn't want to do it. I was like, nope, I want to be in people's faces.
Right? Why not?
I want to jump on people. No, I'm going to jump on people. Yeah.
Don't be Glenn Danzig. So
right. I know. Jeez. Okay, so I do have to ask this question because I'm kind of excited to ask this question actually, because I don't get a lot of bands on here that are Christian metal, right, or Christian rock or hard rock or hard metal or anything like that. So I have my favorites, so I want to know who your favorites are. As for like Christian metal or Christian rock, who would you say was kind of an inspiration to you?
Inspiration, well, that's really easy. There's a band out of Little Rock, Arkansas, godfathers of, I would call, Christian metal, called Living Sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Without Living Sacrifice, we're probably not doing a lot of what we do. From there, I would venture to say Demon Hunter is a massive inspiration for us. Then, of course, one of your favorites for today.
I do love them. I got to meet him. You have no idea. Yeah, it was insane.
Well, Ryan, the guitarist, lives about 10 minutes from me, so I get to catch up with Ryan every now and then, which is really cool.
That is cool.
So those are, I would say, big three. Michael is extremely influenced by Matty Montgomery. Let's see, gosh, I could go down the lineage of just all the amazing artists that are people of faith. Those are three that I would consider absolute influences, but then there's so many more that I respect. I mean, POD came along and changed the game for all of us back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. Project 86 was another one that kind of jumped in there at that time. So they're really good, and I love what Fit for a King is doing right now. August Burns Red is another one. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but there's so many amazing artists. And then there's a whole other circle out there that a lot of people don't know about, guys that and ladies that are out there just really killing it right now. I was talking about my boys from Relent. Go check those fellas out, man. They are absolutely amazing. There's another band called The Protest, whom I really admire. Amazing people, some of my favorite people to spend time with. So just there's a lot of good bands out there right now that I'm excited about. I get to witness their talent firsthand, and they'll maybe never ever make it on the radio, or they might. I don't know. You know, I have no less respect for their talent. So, fortunately, I've gotten to tour with these guys. I get to spend time with them as friends, and I can't speak highly enough of them.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check them out, and so will you guys out there. So there was a band that was kind of one of those big time. Well, they became big time, and that just kind of really set me on that path as well as they're doing it. They can do this side of this spectrum of music. Was Red. Yeah, love them. I didn't get to see them when they came through.
They put an amazing show. They really do. They put on an amazing show. I caught them actually the first time with Chevelle and 12 Stones.
Oh wow,
that's a pretty good show.
Yeah, I would definitely want to get a chance to see them. I wanted to get a chance too to see, and that caused a lot of controversy was when Motionless in White did a tour with it was For Today.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember that tour.
Yeah, and big controversy, and everybody kept asking Chris, well, why would you do that? And he's like, well, you need both spectrums, heaven and hell, right? I was like, really, Chris?
Well, it's the ages-old debate. I mean, I remember people talking about, hey, I want to see Striper and Slayer. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I think if, no matter where our belief system rests, if we can meet at humanity, we're going to be okay.
I agree with that. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about this next song. This is Obsessed. Tell me a little bit about this one.
Obsessed is that's one of those songs that really, in fact, I'll just say our label would say that song encompasses everything that we are as a band. It's aggressive, it's groovy, it's got my favorite. I love group sing-alongs. It's usually our closer on our sets, and there's nothing better for me than going out and after a show and hearing people singing the chorus even after we're off the stage.
Yes.
It's another one of those songs. Like I said, everything on the Obsessed album is very thematic. It is, again, about spiritual battle. It's about wrestling with different elements of our being to a point of obsession. So it, once again, very allegorical. We're not going to tell you how to hear it or how to believe or anything like that, but the basis of the song definitely is steeped in spiritual battle.
I love that. Well, all right, everybody, here you go. Here is Obsessed. Okay. Get him back on here. Are you there?
I am
I hear
here.
you. Sorry about that. Okay.
No worries.
Oh, such a good song. I was kind of headbanging a little bit. I wasn't paying attention. I was like, oh wait, it's almost. Yeah,
Um,
got to remind myself. Yeah, you're doing an interview here.
there you go. Well, hey, I'm
But
glad that you're enjoying it.
yeah, and see that's one of the things. Like any band that I'm interviewing, I've obviously listened to your music. I've obviously heard you, and a lot of times when I'm reaching out to bands, it's because I'm loving their music. I'm loving what they're doing. Because I don't put anything on my show that I don't approve of. So it's definitely got the Raven stamp of approval.
Appreciate that a whole lot.
Right. Right. So, but yeah, it really was pretty awesome to know though that you guys, especially being under the influence of God, if you will. I love saying that. I just do. But I love that. I really, really do. That was something I wasn't expecting. Reading up on you, I guess I just didn't see that part of it, But I do love that part of that about you guys.
One of the things we try to do, Raven, is we try to build bridges. My thought on all of this is if you meet with us, um, my hope is we don't have to tell you we're Christians, that you see it. And not so much because we're looking down our nose at you or we're judging you. One of my favorite scriptures is actually found in the book of John. It's John 13:35. It says, by this, that people are going to know you're my disciples, by your love for one another. Like I said, not to really show how spiritual I am, but really that is our mantra as a band, especially when we're out in public. We want to find out what connects us, not what divides us. We've learned that there's not much that separates us as humans. We all desire much of the same things, and so we want to build those bridges to people for conversation, maybe to their heart, maybe have a soul conversation,
Yeah.
Back to how we were talking about suicide. I mean, if we're going out there looking at you like you're the most horrible person on planet Earth and look how great and religious we are, well, there's a good chance you're probably going to shy away from us, and we certainly don't want to miss that opportunity. So, also, I don't necessarily want people to, I'm under the mind that I don't necessarily want to create art that just explains it all right there. I want you to peel back the layers. I want you to chew on it for a little bit. I want you to consider what you're listening to, considering what you're looking at, and then I want you to ask questions about it. I don't want to make it too easy. So for me, there's an ongoing joke that we have. It's called we don't follow the JPM rule, and it's called the Jesus per minute rule. So you'll find, in fact, in the songs that you're playing tonight, there's not one mention. So take that for what it is. But again, I want people to chew on the lyrics a little bit more. And if I were to just dump out my religion in your lap, there's also a good opportunity or a good chance that depending on your slant, depending on what you've experienced, that you might be repulsed by it. So
Yeah.
back to that, I want to build bridges. I want to open doors. I don't want to create division if I can avoid it at all.
Well, I've actually come across kind of a couple of different scenarios speaking on those same lines. Like we just played with a band. Oh, I played with them twice now, but they're out there kicking ass and taking names. But they're called GFM, and it's
Yep.
Gold, Frankincense, and
Played with
Myrrh.
them a few weeks ago.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome.
They
Love
are.
the girls. They're super sweet. They really are genuine, and their parents are amazing as well. Super young, and they're already just, like I said, kicking ass and taking names.
They have a presentation that most of us older guys and ladies would like, wow, okay, if I had that when I was their age.
Right. I wish I would have gotten into music when I was their age. Like I was, but I wasn't doing that. You know what I mean? Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get this scholarship at college, and
Most of us were.
Yeah.
Most of us were. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
They seem to have a really good support system in their mom and dad too,
Yeah.
that really help them along and bring their ideas to life. And so some of it's just based around who's supporting you.
Very true. Very true. Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. Yeah, and man, I tell you, it's been crazy, I think, on in the music world. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be in a band. You could be behind the scenes. You could be even the techs, the venues. I've seen so many venues closing down and never going to reopen.
What's that?
No, you're from Tulsa, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we played down there at the what's it called? Blackbird on Pearl. I think I said that right.
Yep, right down the road for me.
Yeah, we're actually going to be there again on the 30th of October.
Oh, nice.
Which will be fun. But I was talking to Brandon from Had Enough. He's kind of said the same thing. But man, Texas got hit so hard with so many venues shutting down. Wichita, here where I'm at, I know of at least 3 venues that have closed down and never coming back. And so I'm just like so saddened by this. I mean, we have a major venue here that's called the Cotillion. It's been around forever. I played with OTEP there twice.
Wow.
So I mean, to know that this place is struggling and there's talks of them shutting down, I'm just like, no. But how is this how are you guys dealing with this whole situation?
Well, I've had a lot of time to consider this and really think about it. And I will preface everything I say with this first. The biggest thing that saddens me is the loss of livelihoods. There's a lot of people who invested their blood, sweat, tears, finances, and everything else they could into, at one point, it was a dream of theirs. And for it to not be there anymore, it is terrible. My heart goes out to the business owners and the people that they employ. So it's definitely not taken lightly from my perspective. But then there's another side of me that has to pull from my leanings. When I was coming up, venues were not as abundant. Shows were not as abundant. Promoters were less inclined to give local bands shows or unknown or unheard of bands shows. We've enjoyed quite a season of abundance, if you will, when it comes to tours and shows, especially from the indie DIY circuit. It is going to be impacted, but I come up in a time where we didn't expect that anybody was going to give us a show. And so we were left with the question, well, if you won't give us a show, then we'll create our own. We would find our ways into the VFWs. We would find our ways into parks. We'd set up parks and invite our friends. We would find armories and elks lodges, and we would make our own show. We would hit the streets and promote the heck out of that show. We did not wait for people to open the doors for us because we knew if we waited, we would probably never get to play anything.
Yeah. Wow.
That's how I came up. That was the era I came up. The era I came up was very DIY, hit the streets, get out there, talk to people, hand out flyers, make it personal. We didn't have Facebook where, we thought it was good enough to, send out 5,000 invites and call it a day. As long as there are musicians, as long as there are entrepreneurs, music is not going to die.
Right. I agree with that.
It's going to change. It's going to change. And we have to be adaptable to the change. We could look at it from the perspective of the world is burning and everything is being destroyed, or we could look at it from the perspective of, wow, what an opportunity.
An opportunist, yeah.
What an opportunity, because there will be bands that will fold as a result because they don't possess the imagination or even the desire. There's some bands that have been doing it for a long time, like, listen, I don't want to start over. You know what? I get that. I get that a lot.
Right.
But then there are going to be a new crop of bands that come up, and they got a little fire in their belly, and they're going to forge that work ethic that we cut our teeth on, and they're going to create the scene. I'm excited about those bands, to be honest with you.
Well, and the one thing that I agree with this in a big sense too is, like, I think you're about my age, and growing up we didn't have this technology that we have
No.
today. We didn't, like you said, we didn't have Facebook to send out the invites. We didn't have any of this. We couldn't just get a, I can't think of what it's called. It's where you can get your stuff on Spotify as an independent.
No, have none of that.
All this stuff, it was different. It was a whole different monster. And, in the 80s, man, they had it made, but the problem is they didn't have it made. The labels stole all their money,
We're just now finding that out, right?
Right. They stole all their money, and none of them had money, none of them, So, it's insane to think of, wow, okay, so then, so most of these labels now, they can't make these promises. They can't do those things. And so now it really is more of a DIY, in so many aspects. You can still hire people as for like agencies to maybe do management, or agencies to do booking. You could even have a label that maybe helps you on the distribution side of this. Especially if they have connections to like Sony Orchard or something like that.
Right.
Things like that would be a benefit. But as for like a full record deal, it's
not happening anymore.
Yeah, and they want the bands to pay for them. They want the bands to pay for them. And I just talked to this one band. They had to pay $15,000.
What?
$15,000. I'm not even going to say what the label is, but it's not.
No, you don't have to.
It's not a big one. It's not a big one. And I'm like,
you know what I could do with $15,000 on my own?
Number one, I could get an RV so I could travel and do shows. Number two, I could spend so much money on marketing and merchandise.
That's where my mind was going, right there.
Marketing and merchandise, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And a website so you can sell your merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the above. I could turn $15,000 and generate so much return revenue.
Yeah.
It's not even fun.
And the thing is this band has been sitting on their shelf for over a year.
That's terrible. Well, I think the thing that remains constant, and it's the same thing that we had to learn back in the day, the same thing that we need to really still adopt today, is we got to bust our butts.
Yeah.
Just because you make a song, and it may be an awesome song, it doesn't mean people are interested or even care.
And two rules of marketing. People who may not even still know who you are, even if it's on the charts.
There you go. Well, 2 rules of marketing is you either meet a need or you create a need. Which one are you doing?
Right.
That goes back to Big Mouth. So.
I love it. Well, let's get to this next song for sure, because I know we're kind of getting to that time wire. So this next one is sibling. I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to do that. Sibling rivalry. I couldn't even spell this. I was just like, Jamie, how do you spell that? Yeah, because the day has just been like nothing. It's like vomit out the mouth and writing. Can't write. I'm telling you. Okay, so this is sibling rivalry. Explain a little bit about this. This is a lyric video.
It is a lyric video. Again, one of our early songs, and still a prominent favorite among our fan base. But the title says it all. I mean, it is the ages-old story of Cain and Abel. Translated to modern day, I mean, who have you met in your life, especially somebody close to you, that you can say that you haven't had a moment of malice for. So I think the story of Cain and Abel is pretty amazing because it is still relatable in today's modern day. Mm-hmm. It's also a cautionary tale because you don't get rid of that malice, you can take it a little bit too far and change your life forever. So sibling rivalry is just simply that. It is the story of Cain and Abel set to song.
Love that. All right, everybody, here you go. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Such a great song. And do you have somebody local that helps you guys out with that, like the lyric videos and things like that, or?
Well, I mean, there are local guys, but I have to thank our label, Rottweiler Records. There's my tag and plug for them, but they really do a lot of the legwork when it comes to getting our lyric videos created.
That's awesome. Yeah, they do a really great job. They do really. And in fact, I don't think I've ever even heard of Rottweiler. That is such a word. Why? Why?
Well, go check them
I
out.
am
They,
so
actually, we're on the lighter end of the spectrum of their roster. So it came to a lot of death metal. In fact, some of my good friends taking the Head of Goliath, brutal death metal. We got Death Requisite. There's symphonic death metal. So
nice. Nice.
yeah,
I'll have to check out
we're
their.
like the light spectrum on it.
Yeah, I'll have to check out their roster. That's awesome. Yeah, I've always been a huge fan. It's so funny because like my my likes a spectrum, if you will, of music of genre. It's like from Chevelle to Cannibal Corpse. you know,
Oh, nothing wrong with that.
but I don't listen to Cannibal Corpse all the time. It's more of like a Children of Bodom or Whitechapel or something like that. Going into like the heavier body. Body Count is another one I like. Things like this.
Nice ego.
I love In This Moment though. A lot of people give her a lot of crap, and I think that's when people give you a lot of crap when you made it. That's how I think.
She's unique in her delivery, so I can't say that I'm a fan, but I can appreciate the artistic element of it.
Yeah, I really truly do love her. I love her and, geez, Otep. Well, she gets a bad rap because she was kind of an asshole. I'm not gonna lie.
So I have heard. I've never met her, but yes, I've heard the stories.
She
They
was
travel
never
far
to me
north.
though. That was the thing. Like, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's because you're hot, Raven." I'm like, "No, listen. There's plenty of other women she's worked with that I've heard her have a conflict with, and so I think it's more maybe I don't know. We just got along really well.
That's good.
Maybe we're just both assholes. I don't.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just gotta be. It's okay.
Right, right.
Well, a lot of people don't like to hear this, but that I can always reference statements like that to biblical references because they say the body is made up. It's one body, many parts, and I always tell people that includes assholes. So.
Right, right. No, really, I'm actually a very, very sweet person. I mean, obviously, if you do me wrong, then, but see, I'm a Scorpio Sagittarian. I mean, I know that's zodiac, but just my demeanor. I'm like two signs because I was literally born at like 12:01. So like just my personality of who I am, it makes sense. Like I can be like the nicest person you'll ever meet and help you in any possible way I possibly can. But then on the other spectrum of this, but I think that can go for any human being. It's everybody just has a level of what degree they go to, I guess.
I think everybody needs to have their boundaries too. So, hey, be cool with me, I'll be cool with you, and don't take me to a place that you don't want to see me, and we'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people thought that it would be easy as a female to be in the metal world. It is. Not when I started.
I can imagine that's not.
No, it wasn't.
I imagine you probably deal with your fair share of douches. So.
Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't even just that. I even had problems with sound guys turning me down, saying, "Well, women shouldn't be up there anyway."
Chauvinism. Gotta love it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I had one sound guy do that to me for 8 years. 8 years. He gave me like a chord to my piano. I was like, oh, is this like your apology?
So what you were feeling is what Jason Newsted felt on Justice for All, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got turned down.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Bad joke.
Yeah. Well, if I had a laughing, maybe I'll get a laughing edit in here.
No, you shouldn't have to deal with that, Raven. That's there's no place for isms.
Well, it happened for a long time. At the very beginning, because I was dressing up in corsets and little tutu things and things like this. I was a lot younger. And I loved kind of that gothic that look, and I still do, but it's crazy though, because at the very beginning, so wear a lot of dark makeup, and things like this. I actually had, it was in Salina. We did a Battle of the Bands, which I just don't do Battle of the Band things anymore. I mean, they're so set up. I'm sorry, they're set. They're so
Get
set
me
up.
started on that one.
They're so set up. Anyway, but we went up there and did it. We tied first place with this other band that's from there, right? They had all their girlfriends there. I kid you not. Every one of those girls was like, is that a dude? Is that a dude singing? Or is that a trans? Is that a...
Wonderful.
I kid you not. I swear I was pleading with some of my friends that lived in Salina. I was like, please go get me a dildo. I'm going to put it underneath this skirt. Please go get me.
That would have gotten their attention. That would have gotten their attention.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not going to say I wouldn't have liked to see the expression, because that would have been pretty amazing, actually.
It would have, yeah. I even asked for a banana. I asked for something. You just... I was like, I'm going to mess with these girls.
Mess with their heads a little bit.
Yeah.
Just go listen to the music, man.
Right, right.
I don't know how long you've been in that scene, but you know Dead Orchestra?
I do. I don't know them per se. You know what's really weird is that I've done music since I was 3 years old. I played piano since I was 3 years old. My mother's a music teacher, but the problem is I was focusing more along the lines of like the counseling, psychiatry side of the life.
Okay.
I did when I was even a late going to college person. I think is that a word? I just made it a sentence.
I know it's sad, because I was the same way.
I went when I was like 25, 26.
Okay.
So I was the oldest one in this group. Like 2,500 people auditioned for this group, and only 18 got in. And I was the oldest person that had ever been in this group before. So it was, and plus I was a mother of 3 at the time. So it was like one of those things that, I kind of got in later in life, really. Yeah. I didn't even start in this career as a band in the industry or artist in the industry until 2006.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit after Deado's heyday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know of them. And in fact, I think 2 of my members, one of them, my bassist, his name is Ryan Stebb. He actually, I think, played with one of them in another project they did, I think. Because I think he was talking to me about that at one time. We were just talking about local bands and what it was before I really got into it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I knew a couple from that area. There was a band at one time called Crop that I knew of. I don't know how long they lasted. I don't know if they extended into your tenure. And then there was another band named Mutt that I remember, and Mutt was really friggin' good. So, and then Dead Orchestra.
Wow. Yeah, I remember, like, in my time, it was a band called Tainted. I don't know if you remember that band from here. Their singer's name was Tem. It was kind of MySpace time. It was at the end of MySpace time, I guess.
Gotcha.
But they were amazing. And then
Tainted, huh?
Yeah, but honestly though, here in the Midwest, we have so much talent. From Tulsa to here, up to Kansas City, Missouri, there's so many amazing bands through this Midwest area that a lot of people just don't know. And it's kind of cool though in a way when we go to tour, because I've actually been on 3 different tours now, but we can set something up to where it's like, a 10-day tour type thing, or 8 to 10 day tour, and we could either go to the West Coast, Northern, Southern, do kind of a circle, you know what I mean? And we kind of did that with California, because that's where our label's from, which is Rock Avenue Records USA, and that's my plug for them. And then we went south, we went just straight south, and then, I guess we went to Arkansas, and then Oklahoma, Missouri, part area, Texas, and then went around to California, and then went up through like Las Vegas, Utah, Colorado, back to Kansas, kind of thing.
That's quite a tour.
It was a lot of fun too. It was so much fun. I didn't really know much about the West Coast scene. You know what I mean? So we were like the new kids on the block for sure, and we still are because we've only been there once. But we played at some really cool places. This happened to be around the same time that Jill from the Huntress passed away.
Okay, yeah.
And we were supposed to play. We played at the Rainbow is where we were supposed to play, but they ended up having a tribute dedication to Jill that same night. But we went ahead and went out to eat because you could eat downstairs, and it's just amazing restaurant. Well, while I'm going up there, I get this tap on the shoulder, and I turn around, and it happens to be Heidi from Butcher Babies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her and the other singer was there as well. But I've met them a couple of times prior, just because being another female that does this, you tend to kind of gravitate towards each other a little bit. You can gravitate towards each other a little bit if you're ever in the same place together. But because they've done like Rocklahoma with me and stuff like that. So, but that was just a really amazing moment. But but if you ever get a chance to go over there, the one place we were supposed to play and didn't was the what's it called? It's right down the street from the Rainbow Room. It's like a famous place too. I'll think of it and I'll message it to you. If you ever go over there, you got a Whiskey a Go Go. That's it, Whiskey a Go Go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If you get an opportunity to try to play there, do it because that's
we set up. We had it all routed out. Then I started looking at the miles, and then unfortunately the time away from work for 4 guys, and I was just like, guys, we can't do it.
It's really difficult. It is. It's really difficult. And I'll tell you, we did some crazy stuff. Like we were supposed to go through tip of Arizona, New Mexico, then to California.
Gotcha.
But the show got canceled the night before. Yeah. So because of that, we drove 24 hours from Texas to California.
Woo. All right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. My ankles. I had cankles. I was like, but they were because we just didn't get it out and move enough in 24 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Elevation changes.
I'm telling you, yeah. And I was looking down most of the time during the trip because like the driver I was with was crazy, and he was doing like 85, 90 miles an hour through these hills and turns, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
Glad you did.
Anyways, well, let's get to this last song here. Let's talk about this. This is
Sure.
Who Told You, and this is just the audio of it. But tell the audience a little bit about this song.
Well, this song is, and I shared a little bit of the story about where the song was inspired from with the young man we met up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, Rottweiler again. I remember the first time performing that song live at Audio Feed Music Festival, and our head dog Sean Browning came up to us. He's like, kind of got that look, like, what was that song that you did? And told him the name. He said, that's your next hit. Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks. I appreciate the vote of confidence, And we released the album in April 2019, and then by August of that year, we were getting chart reports that it hit #1. I guess he was a prophet.
That is so awesome. That is so
It was
awesome.
the first time I saw a #1 next to any creation ever in my entire life. So, and it was multiple charts. It wasn't just one chart. It was multiple. And I know you haven't arrived, but when you busted your butt for relevance for any length of time, you see stuff like that, and I don't care who you are. Yeah. It's exciting.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just in that moment, you're just like, what?
Yeah. Right. That's our name right there,
Right.
And, yeah, it was pretty surreal, and then we finished off, it was one of the charts was the top 100 of 2019. We finished #2 for 2019, sandwiched in between War of Ages and Demon Hunter. So one
Wow.
of the metal charts for some of the dudes that inspire us. So I'm sitting there like, I need to have that sucker framed.
Yeah, right, right.
So, but we decided to go ahead and put a video behind it, which is going to be released here soon. We are actually waiting on the drop date. Once again, we had a little setback, but if I'm not mistaken, it is going to go through the HM Magazine website for the release. So I'm waiting patiently.
Yes.
But it'll be our first video from the album, set to our #1 single from the album. So we're pretty excited about it.
It is exciting. That is exciting. And, you know, like we've only got one actual music video out there ourselves. And it's a lot of work, you know, so I get it. And plus with the COVID, I'm sure this possibly could have come out a little sooner, just because of that reason. But you know, sometimes, you know, things happen for a reason, right? They happen for a reason, whatever the reason that is.
So we're glad to finally get here to this point. I'm hoping it's well received. Recording a music video is a really weird experience. It's not the first time I've done it, and every time it's just for me personally, I don't honestly like the camera very much. So it's like, oh, okay, I guess necessary evil.
Right.
But I think the video turned out really good. It was recorded through our friends over at Freelance Studios. They're a local guy, supporters of what we've done for a very long time, and I think they did a really good job for us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I did, before we do play this, I did want to show, I saw in your pictures, somebody that's a friend, which I'm showing it right now. This is Dottie. She's actually one of the amazing photographer. When I saw that, I went, oh my gosh, she knows 13 minutes too. That's awesome.
Mega Metal Magazine, Memories by Dottie.
Yes, and I love the masks. Those are cool. Was that a mask, or is that an actual mask, or is that a bandana?
No, it's a mask you wrap around your ears. And actually, it's funny. Speaking of talking about the Midwest, and I'll let you get to the song here in just a second. But when we did Trauma Fest through Wayne and that bunch over there, we that's how we really encountered Dottie. But she responded. The local paper there in Iola, Kansas, actually did a write-up on us.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best newspaper articles I think I've ever written, or any kind of article written about us, as far as that's concerned. But they asked us the question: how is it touring around the Midwest? I mean, is it good? I mean, what's the response? And you know what's great is we do have an amazing scene. We have amazing supporters all through the Midwest. And they were really surprised to hear it's not bad at all. Honestly, we don't need to go to California. Yeah. You know, it's not necessary. We could drop down and start in Houston, work our way back up, and head all the way up to Minnesota and have great shows for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so they were really stunned to hear that I had nothing ill to say about the Midwest support and the metal scene. And then, of course, that kind of segues into what Dottie does. And I started chatting with Dottie through that, and she's like, hey, well, I'm coming out the show. I'm going to film you guys, or photograph you guys. And we had a really long conversation after the set. And, of course, enough that Dottie wanted to up our mask, so we made a new friend. So yeah. I appreciate her work and what they're doing there with Mega Metal, and what Dottie does with her lens. She does a great job.
Oh, she does. Yeah, absolutely. And she's such a genuine, amazing person. She just genuinely is. Yeah, I love her to death. I love her to death. So shout out to you, Dottie. All right, guys. Well, here you go. This is the last one for you, and we'll come back. We'll talk with them a little bit more. But this is Who Told You?
Satisfied in your hell, affection for what's bare and no story.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely understand why that is, yeah, that's a great song. That's an amazing song. And you know, to know the story behind it too is just pretty amazing. I love it. I love it. Well, I want to make sure everybody knows out there where to get if they want to purchase the single, if they want to purchase the album, they want to reach out to you as a band, where would they go?
Well, me personally, I spend a lot of time out there on Facebook land. It's my favorite forum. So chances are, if you're interacting with our Facebook page, XIII Minutes, then you're going to be talking to me. We hang out on Instagram too. So if you want to connect with us personally, those are the best ways. Of course, you're always welcome to email us 13minutes@yahoo.com. And somebody will definitely holler back at you if you have any questions. But if you want to download the album, we prefer Bandcamp because we make the largest percentage from Bandcamp. But if you prefer Amazon, iTunes, or whatever your favorite download portal is, the album is out there. Right now, we are actually sold out of physical copies, which is once again, a bit surreal. But we are pressing some more as we speak. That will be available through us directly or through Rottweiler Records on their website. So those are the easiest ones. And if you don't remember anything I just said, just go out and type our name in Google, and we'll take up the first 5-6 pages. So.
Right. Well, I'll make sure to put in definitely your Facebook link in the comment section, along with that Bandcamp, because you said that's the best one, correct?
That is the best one.
Okay, so I will put that in there as well. Thank you so much for joining me for this interview. I want to do something. I want to start a new thing. I think it'd be really fun for all my guests at the end for both of us to just send off for everybody out there. Do a nice moi. Will you join me in it?
Nice what?
A nice moi. We're going to do from cover your mouth and put up to the hands. Yeah. All right. You ready to do this? Are you ready to do this? We're going to do it. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Quote the Raven Show. Thank you, 13 Minutes, and thanks you guys so much. Thank you again, Jamie. It's been an amazing interview. You guys take care. I look forward to the upcoming stuff. Let me know when that video comes out, and we'll make sure to do an exclusive for you.
Thank you, and hopefully, we'll share the stage with Waking the Sleeper soon. So let's make it happen.
Absolutely, would love to. Well, you have a great rest of your evening, and I'm sure Jamie said he's going to be in the comment section as well. He'll be able to answer all those questions for you guys. Again, thank you so much, Jamie. You have an amazing evening.
Thank you, Raven. You too.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, you guys. Amazing band. I love their music. They're super talented. Make sure you go to their Facebook page and like them. Go to their Bandcamp and like them as well, and purchase their stuff, especially with everybody being kind of locked down right now. That's their income. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining another episode, and I will see you very soon.
My final journey into myself. The beginning is the end. The end is only the beginning.